So I'm gonna take my time with this, and I hope that you can resonate with what I'm saying, and it gives you the information that you need. Or if it pops up on your news feed, it was meant for you to, listen to it and understand. So a lot of people don't really know too much about tarot. They're interested in sage, the crystals. Um, you got ayahuasca. You have a lot of like new age stuff that a lot of people are resonating or starting to resonate, or it just feels good. And oftentimes what you hear is, a lot of this stuff is connecting with your ancestors, right? It sounds really good. It makes sense, right? There's no such thing as God, as the universe, as ancestors. And then we go as far as like different alien races and alien race you're from. Their tarot cards are very interesting because you can do it on yourself, or you can have somebody do a reading with you, and it's the energy and the vibrations and all this stuff, and you just feel like you're being told certain things, and then you can do certain spells to get money spells, love spells, sexual spells, or whatever. And so what I want to do is just break down just the back seat or the backstage stuff of a lot of these things, so you can just fully know and fully aware. A lot of times, people don't know, and I don't want you to get to heaven or hell and then be like, well, I didn't know. I want you to really know what you get into. Often this stuff feels like it's healing. A lot of this stuff, it makes sense. Sage, I'm cleaning my energy, and these crystals, it brings prosperity and all this stuff, and it's healing, and it's for dreams and all these different things, and astral projection and shroom trips, and it's really just to know your higher self, and your chakras, and they need to be aligned, and Reiki healing, all this stuff, and us astrology and astronomy and numerology and my path number. So one thing I'll tell you about a lot of this stuff is I studied this stuff. I even published a book about it, and then once I published it, I actually God told me to in 2023 to walk away from my career, and all the books that I had wrote, I actually took them off online. They were published through Amazon. And so, a lot of people were buying them. And so I went further than most people. Some people just skim the surface. Some people are just interested, and they don't really know. Like, I went further. I became a student, and then I became a teacher. And so a lot of times in New Age, what you'll understand is first you understand something, then you understand something, and then you overstand it. Okay, so overstanding, now you become the teacher. When you understand it, you are no longer under, no longer learning it, but you connect with it in spirit. You grasp it a lot more, and then when you overstand it, you can actually teach it. You are the teacher. So I overstood a lot of things, and I went farther than most. And so let me tell you. So when you're doing tarot, what it is, this is true. These people are having spirits that are working with them to get answers, right? So these spirits can't be like God, where he's all everywhere all at once. They're spirits that live in this, in this world, and they connect with other spinners or whatever. And then you have monitoring spirits, people that watch over you and blah, blah, blah. And so what these spirits do, it's easy for them to get information because all they have to do is connect with this spirit or whatever, or go find them or whatever. And then they get this information, and then they spew it through the channeler. They spew it through them, and that's how they know the name, or this person's cheating on you, or this is what happened, and blah blah blah. And when I was going to tarot readers, it would be like, oh my gosh, like I know, because they would say things, and I'd be like, oh, they talking about this person, and then I would know the energy, and they would tell me things of what was happening, and I would go back and I would tell the person that I know, and like this person is doing that, and it would be true. So it was really interesting, to the point where I was actually hooked on it. I couldn't, because they would tell you everything that's going to happen in your day, and so I would be hooked on this stuff. Like, I'd listen to it all day, all night, and I'd just be hooked. So what these spirits do, you have these spirits, these demonic spirits, they're taking this information, they're feeding the channeler, right? And so some people were like, okay, well, what's wrong with that? Well, you got to think any spirits that's on Earth are that came from they were cast down. They're demonic spirits. They're not here to help you. A lot of people try to say, oh, well, this is my ancestors. No, your ancestors are dead, and and they don't have no access to you. So we have to get out of that mindset. I know it sounds cool or it sounds like it's a dope thing. A lot of people say, well, why? I know that's my grandma. No, that spirit just knew your grandma and just acted like your grandma and knows how to imitate your grandma and knows what to say because another spirit, a monitoring spirit, knew you when you was a kid. So yes, this stuff can seem legitimate, but it's really spirits and demonic entities really just playing and feeding off you thinking that this stuff is more than what it is, right? So then you want to know about the crystals. They say, oh, it's prosperity. Honestly, what that is simply put, those crystals and stuff are a sign for demonic entities to know okay, we can mess with them. Or, okay, this is a sign. We here, go over there, blah, blah, blah. So it's really just a signal for them to come into your life. Yeah. Same thing with the sage and stuff like that. Also, when you go into shroom trips or you do any kind of drugs, you're legally giving access to demonic entities to access your body. You're legally in the spiritual realm giving them access. That's why you're having these weird trips and you're seeing things you don't see in the regular realm because you are taking these substances that allows access to them. But what you don't know, you also are giving them access to your body. That's why when you drink spirits, drink it. When you get drunk, the Bible says not to get drunk. When you get drunk, you allow a spirit to come in you, and that's why you wake up and like, I don't know what happened, because that spirit was allowed access to you and did things that you don't remember, right? What else? You have just so many different things like omens, astrology. A lot of people don't know this, so doing your research, if you ever really want to go into Bible, I'm talking about deeper than most. Enoch is a really cool book that I did my research on. Some people agree with it, some people don't. I read it for myself and I was like, wow, this resonates well. And so what you learn in the book of Enoch, when the angels came down and took humans form and they were down here, they was teaching the humans about astrology, about astronomy, about gold, about makeup. They introduced homosexuality. They introduced all this stuff to the human race. So that's why a lot of like false religion and a lot of like these false gods, they go back so far because when the angels came down, they instituted it. And some of the stuff that they was teaching us was actually forbidden knowledge that God told the angels, this is not to be shared with the humans for whatever reason. And so when they told us about astronomy and astrology or whatever, that was information that was not supposed to be given. Now, I do believe that there's some type of connection. I feel like there's some truth to it, but I don't think we're not supposed to know, or not yet, what that is. That's why I feel like a lot of that stuff does have truth, but we are told to stay away from that stuff. So I used to be really good at astrology. I used to know people's zodiac sign before they would even tell me. I could tell them everything about them. I knew. I would tell people their path numbers, and the path number is when you calculate your birthday, and you can, in addition to knowing your zodiac sign, you know why you were sent here on Earth, right? And so a lot of this stuff just made so much sense, and it was just so cool. But then for me, when I started just like living my life like that, life got really constrictive. It got really weird because I just knew, or less I just kind of threw that out there. I just knew people's intentions and blah, 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 because I knew their traits. And because I knew your zodiac sign, I would know if you were going to be a good friend or not, or if I should mess with you, blah, blah, blah. And it just got really constrictive. And it kind of ruined my way of like looking at life. It was like you're almost playing God in a sense, and Um, yeah, it just got overwhelming after a while, and I actually didn't like the fact that I knew so much. So, um, yeah, so like a lot of that stuff, a lot of people don't understand. It's just it comes from the spirit world. It comes from the angels that was eventually cast out of heaven. And a lot of the angels, what you don't know is that did do some of the bigger, like crazier things, like teach us certain things that we wasn't supposed to know, or like the angel. This is not talked about, but the angel that was actually that led the revolt. A lot of people try to give Satan more credit than what he was, even though he was probably like the start of the revolution. But there was also other angelic angels that was doing some other stuff that was like crazy, and so God immediately actually disciplined them, and it says that He buried them in the land of the earth, and until Judgment Day, they're stuck there. So some of the angels are. Yeah, so a lot of this stuff is deep, and again, a lot of people just only go surface level with this stuff, and they just know something and it makes them feel good and blah blah blah, and then they try to like wrap their whole world around it. And I'm the person that not only went in, not only studied, not only went farther, and then God and I didn't tell you this, a lot of the time that I went into this stuff, God actually protected me. There was only certain things I could go farther in when it came to certain drugs or going far in the spiritual realm, and I didn't know at the time why. I would actually get frustrated and be like, why can I only go so far? Why? Well, like, why am I could feel like I'm hitting a wall. Like, why can't I go like farther than this person? And later on, God revealed, actually, I was protecting you, wasn't supposed to. I was protecting you that whole time. There's times that I astral projected. I would sleep with the crystals where I sleep, and I actually would astral project. And people that tell you they know how to do it, I don't know. Your body just do it, but I think those crystals will let the angels know, demons know how to whatever. But when I would go out of my body and I would go in the realm, and my bodies was pushed back. 3 different times they were like, no, and pushed me back in my body. There was another time that he was like, you're not ready, go and push me back in my body. And then one time it was like I kind of snuck up on him, and he like looked at me and he pushed me back in my body. And when I did some research about that, and they said that there are protectors, that protect the spiritual world for, like, I guess or humans to go past or whatever. I don't know if it was demonic, because it seemed like dark or weird, but I don't know what I assume that's what it is. But all I know is I was pushed back in my body, and later on, God revealed in my spirit, He was protecting me. So a lot of this stuff I'm saying that you thinking that you trying to do, you trying to give a demonic entity access to your body. And you're literally doing that biblically. Like, when I take this drug and I take this spirit and blah, blah, blah. So I'm glad that God protected me, because I was doing things I didn't really fully understand. Right. And then when you cast spells and you make these spells, you're actually doing rituals to false gods. You're doing rituals to gods. That's why you have these people in the certain religions, like Asian religion or the Buddhists, and they're giving food and money to these false gods that was actually instituted years and years before. I mean, hundreds of thousands of years before. So these are just false gods through Buddha. The angels can't say their name, so they're going through Buddha. They're going through this. They're going through these things, and you're just giving them praise, right? So it's all false God. It's all just to tear you away from source, tear you away from God. And a lot of people don't understand that even Satan comes as a pillar of light, right? And what that means is Satan is not always coming with the pillar of horns and fire. He was one of the most beautiful angels, so he's going to come like God. He's going to give you the sense of like, oh, if you do this will make you. That's why he, like, with certain things like yoga and certain things, it's all a feel good thing. It's all a sense of healing, but it's really just an imitation of what God is. It's really just he's trying to mirror God. But then there's a twisted whole back to it that you don't even know what's going to happen. You don't really even understand what's really transpiring behind the doors. A lot of people don't really do the research. It's just like, oh, it can't go that deep, or it's not that deep, or it's not that serious. It is it's so serious, and that's another way that Satan tricks you. It's because you don't think it's that deep, or it's not really a big deal, or because you don't have a relationship with God, anything can turn you a different way. Anything can pull you because you think that God is religion. You think that God is, going to church and stumping around and rules. And it's like, God is like, no, I'm so much more than that. That's why a lot of times when you really start to have a relationship with God, he will remove you from all that. He will remove you from religion. He will remove you from the church. He will remove you because he needs to pour into you so you know how his voice is, so you know how to communicate with him. And when you stop listening to all the noise, or he gets you away from all the noise, that's how you know your relationship is on the right path. So yeah, I hope you got a lot from this, and hope you enjoy it. There we go.